Welcome to the Huddle. I'm Ann Graffice, Executive Vice President of Global Marketing and Public Affairs for the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company. And it's my pleasure to be with Michael Crawford today as we explore all things operational. And I say that for good reason. I think we've been doing these for maybe a year and a half, 2 years now, Michael.
Yeah,
and
close to it.
I don't think we've ever been sitting in the space in which we are now, meaning out of construction for a greater part of the campus that exists right now and into an operational space where we have a lot of new things to offer. So I'd like to start there. Tell us what your thoughts are as it relates to construction, operational.
Well, I think you're right. We're moving sort of from the majority of assets being constructed to the majority of assets starting to become operational. And it's a critical milestone for us, but more importantly for our guests and the experiences that they can have out here. I was out walking last night and people were riding rides. There was cornhole leagues going on. There was, Shula's was full. This place was full. We're sitting in the Brew Kettle Topgolf location. And the fun new location, of course, I'm watching a lot of little kids with smush cookies enjoying the ice cream. So a lot of things now becoming more operational and really solidifying and creating the destination.
So you mentioned the obvious. We are in this incredible space. This is the Brew Kettle, newly opened. We own Topgolf Swing Suites as a part of this fantastic restaurant and beer and beverage offering. So talk a little bit about that.
Brew Kettle, is a fantastic operator themselves, and we're so lucky to have them. The craft brew, the microbrew business itself is a really unique business. And when they approached us and we had the conversation with them, it was an immediate yes for me. It was an experience that I think our guests are already enjoying, and one back then that I thought would really round out the destination. And then we had a chance to partner up with Topgolf. And so we bought the rights to the Topgolf Swing Suites and asked Brew Kettle if we could put the swing suite sitting behind us and on the second floor in as a part of their experience. And of course they said, absolutely. It's a great activation. And so, for a golfer like me and you're in Ohio, Topgolf is great when you're outside and you're hitting at a target, but it's even better when you're inside in a controlled environment, having a beer, eating food. And what I think we're so lucky to have now is the technology, not only to have a golf experience, but if you look at these racks, they're full of footballs, soccer balls, baseballs, hockey sticks. And so it's really, the name doesn't portray all the sports that you can enjoy here. And beyond that, games. Kids are in here throwing darts at clowns' faces and other things. So a lot of fun to pair up these two great concepts and bring them to life.
The rooftop, what do you think about that space?
We have two locations like that. And, if you go up there, the rooftop is spectacular. And I've been up there for events happening in Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. And so you're sitting there having a beverage of your choice. For me, it was a Pilsner beer, and looking into the stadium, watching a USFL game, watching the environment, and you can be a part of it without having to be in it. Of course, being in it is even more exciting, but if you don't want to be there, you're here, and it's a great viewing platform for our guests to enjoy everything going on.
Incredibly unique. I've had scores of folks tell me that this is the place to be.
Oh, I've seen you up there a few times.
I have been up there a few times. Don't kid yourself. I'm here all the time because not to mention the food is spectacular. So the team here has been phenomenal to work with too. So we're excited to welcome Brian and his whole team to the family. So you mentioned programming on campus, cornhole, a lot of different opportunities for our visitors and guests. What are some of those others that are happening, things that people can look forward to experiencing now?
Well, I think when you think of programming, people say, what is programming? What does that mean? And for us, it's everything from Kevin Hart doing a phenomenal comedic act to Journey, to Zac Brown Band coming, and so much more. And when I look around campus, not everything can be a mega event, right? You have to have sporting activities, leagues, activity for kids. And so from the Forever Lawn Sports Complex to our Center for Performance, Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium, and in last night's case, Play Action Plaza was home to our Cornhole League. And so there's leagues on Wednesday night and Thursday night. We have basketball leagues now coming as well. So it's things that sort of bring people to campus for reasons beyond just enjoying Brew Kettle or Don Shula's or other locations that we're opening here right now. And it's so important to us because we're fortunate to have the assets and the facility surrounding the Pro Football Hall of Fame, of course, that are welcoming those types of athletes, those types of performers. I think the more of that we do, the reputation we're getting is a place of excellence, a place that really can put on a show like no other. And there's a lot of competition around us, don't get me wrong. There's Cleveland, Youngstown, Columbus, and they're doing great things there themselves. And so we're getting more known as a destination that has this type of capability to execute programming at the highest level.
We've long talked about the synergistic model of our business, and I think we're now coming into our own. There's a runway that needs to be achieved before you can capture some success in some of those spaces, but I think some of those things are now coming to life for us as a company. Maybe use an example to help those watching understand how we're actually now starting to fire on all cylinders and how that synergistic model is coming to life.
Sure. Well, you talk about synergy and what it actually means. It actually means you do one thing and it leads to multiple other opportunities. And for us, having 3 different business verticals, gaming, media, and destination assets, anytime that we're making a decision to do something in one, we're thinking about how can we create opportunity in the other 2 as well. And so, I'll use gaming as an example. We've hosted 3 different e-gaming tournaments on campus. Well, the gaming tournaments themselves bring visitors to campus, entry fee into the tournament, but they bring concession opportunities. They bring opportunities for people to stay at our hotel. We're advertising during those tournaments all the other things that are happening on campus. So those people are leaving tournaments, having meals in restaurants, riding rides. So the opportunity to expand the guest experience beyond one event allows, through the synergy model, us to have revenue and grow the company in different ways as well. Kevin Hart was a great example. You bring in a major act like Kevin Hart, significant ticket revenue, significant concession revenue, catering revenue for events, suite sales. Of course, people are arriving early, parking revenue, ride revenue, meal revenue. The restaurants were full before the event. Our downtown hotel is full. We're getting ready to break ground on our on-site hotel. That would have been full. So it really drives, for the guest, a bigger reason for them to come and visit and stay and play. For us, it drives greater opportunity from a revenue enhancement point of view.
Just a quick update, where we are, progress. What is financing looking like as we are lifting up the water park, bringing that second hotel to life? What does the financial picture look like? How is progress on those buildings and the timeline?
I think what's important to remember here is 2 years ago, everybody was questioning how are you going to get financing in the middle of a global health pandemic for the things we're setting in right now.
That's right.
And creativity was a part of that, but support from the community, from the state, and frankly from lenders like Erie Bank, our largest shareholder. Others were incredibly supportive of the vision. They saw what we had the ability to do. And even in a risky environment, said to themselves, we're going to put our bet down, on these guys and the team here and the vision that they've created. And so we're down to our final 2 assets on campus in phase 2. Phase 3 is a different story. Phase 2, the only 2 assets we have left to finance are the water park and the hotel. We've already started the water park, and as I've always said, we're not starting something until we have the financing in place. And so the capital stack for the water park has been in place for several months now, and we've had the asset under construction. It's well underway. The weather has cooperated with us. We had a mild winter, which really helps. And so we're I won't say we're ahead of the game, but I think we're trending a little bit ahead of pace there. The hotel, as I said earlier, breaking ground in just a couple of short months because the hotel is a shorter construction cycle. We have line of sight on all of the pieces of the cap stack. And line of sight means we actually have the term sheets and we're working through the closing of all of those things. I've always said, and back 2 years ago, I said just-in-time financing. And people said, well, what does that really mean? It really means you're smart about when you're taking in the financing that you need. So if you think about financing your house, you wouldn't go out and take a loan a year in advance prior to the time that you were going to purchase a home and actually move into it, because why would you do that? You'd be paying on a loan. You wouldn't be living in the asset. And so it's the same in commercial business, right? You have to be very smart about the timing by which you start to draw upon these financial instruments. And in our case, when you're building a water park or you're building a hotel, the lead time to creating those assets is not overnight. I mean, a water park can take almost 2 years, and a hotel less than that, obviously, but we want to be efficient with the financing. So to sum it up, I mean, the capital stack for the water park is in place. That's why we're under construction, and we're drawing down on those facilities as we need to. The on-site hotel, we have the capital stack, line of sight, everything in place, and we'll finalize that lending as we start to break ground, hopefully here in another couple months.
So wrapping that piece up, what does the timeline look like for completion of those two assets? When can guests expect to enjoy an indoor water park, all football themed?
The good news for us is supply chain is starting to ease up. And the even better news is our team has gotten a lot smarter at how we advance order certain pieces that have been troublesome for us. I think Q3 of next year is the safe bet. We will, the end of Q3 next year, be welcoming guests. I'd love to say by Enshrinement this time, close to next year. It's not going to happen, but boy, we're going to have two pretty spectacular facilities up, and we'll be finishing the inside work, and then just a few short months after that, we'll be ready to welcome guests.
As someone who's been a part of this with you since the beginning, you know, we have long said we do what we say we're going to do. And I think that's something that has really helped us be successful in trying times, because even though it was very difficult in the early stages, it's getting a little bit easier. I don't want to say it's easy. Nothing ever is, nothing worth it anyways. But maybe talk a little bit about, you know, people's mantra, especially somewhat in the region of, you know, you have to see to believe, and, you know, how we've kind of turned that corner and how we've been able to really positively write a new narrative.
I used to, when I first moved here in December of 18, I listened a lot to folks. And look, there were a lot of disappointed people in this community. There really were. There were a lot of promises made that just weren't delivered. And so I used to say, I understand the skepticism. I'm starting not to buy into that anymore. I really do believe that we're showing that even through probably some of the most difficult times we've faced as a country, maybe in the history of our country. Now, I'm not going to go back and talk about, you know, wars and things like that. That would be ridiculous to make those kinds of comparisons. But financially, you know, health pandemics, certainly from an inflation point of view, there's a lot of things that not just the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company are facing. Companies all over are facing. You look at companies like Disney, you look at companies like Apple, you look at these major corporations, they have been beaten down pretty severely by the environment we're facing. I think about now, and I was just talking about this with one of our team members, you look back and reflect on one short year of operation, from August of last year to August of this year, and the number of things that we've opened, the number of events that we've held, the media that we've launched, the gaming that we've been able to achieve, the environments and the virtual environments. It's pretty incredible. And it's all because of the team's hard work. I mean, you have a team that we're pretty hard on ourselves. And we sometimes forget that we got to take a breath and say, wow, there are a lot of things that have been achieved here. For me, I want it to be faster. I think people out there viewing want it to be faster. So I'm pretty relentless, as you well know, on excellence, safety. We've got to make sure that we're doing things right. And if you do things right, guests will see that, they will appreciate that, they will give you their patronage and loyalty. And that's what we're striving for. And so, look, I think what gets confused sometimes, and I've said this before, is I want the stock price to be $100 a share versus I'm actually seeing a company that is growing pragmatically, with the right leadership, with the right team commitment. And over the next couple of years, next several years, you're going to see quarter over quarter, year over year, that type of growth that you would expect from a high quality company.
So we're sitting in the Brew Kettle. We've been in Shula's. We had a fantastic show in there, having some wonderful food. There's a number of different things that have come online since last we were on air. So maybe touch on a few of those, and then in follow-up, maybe give a sneak peek as to thoughts of phase 3 and what that could be.
Well, this has come online since the last time we
Yes.
spoke in Shula's, and we were over there across the street pointing over here saying in just a few short weeks, And in just a few short weeks, it happened. So we do what we say we're going to do. We're not misleading people in terms of timing. Now, things can come up every once in a while. The red zone being a good example of that. I had thought and committed that that was going to be open at the end of last year. It took us into this year. Parts, labor, things that we just beyond our control, but it's up and running. I was out here Tuesday night. We had an absolutely fantastic event. I loved it with Kids Bop and DJ Lily. I met that little girl, 9-year-old DJ, personality larger in life. Her dad was absolutely fantastic. By the way, I said, we've got to do a father-daughter day out here.
I'm on
Have
it.
those two come back. It'll be a great show. But the campus was alive. I mean, the heartbeat was really pounding and everybody was having a great time. So we had our third ride, Spike It, added to Play Action Plaza, which people are loving. And it
Like
gives,
a drop ride?
yeah, it's a ride that has, actually you can program it to have different ride sequences. So it can be really aggressive, it can be moderate, so something for everybody. But what it does for me, being an old ride guy from Disney, it gives you more critical mass out there. And so there's more reasons to stay and play and do things. And I talked to a little girl who was 10, 12 years old, and she bought the all-day band, and I rode that ride 5 times, and I've rode this one 6 times. Loved it. Concession out there. We're doing unique things now in our concession area. We're operating our concession areas now. Food trucks, gaming, cornhole, everything was going on. So we had that third ride that we've stood up and Play Action Plaza, this facility, Top Golf that we've stood up. We replaced our field, our turf field in Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium.
And maybe explain a little bit why we did that.
Flexibility. We wanted more flexibility to have different types of sporting activities there. And, we want the best quality assets that we possibly can. And that field that we had out there was great, but it was kind of timing out a little bit. We've talked to Major League Soccer. We've talked to other leagues that have standards for the type of field that they can play upon. And so we took the old field out and we put the new field in. And in some cases, when you have these fields, you're stitching in the lines, right? The line markers and the end zones. We didn't do that. So now we're painting those in so that we have more flexibility to create different kinds of sporting activity out there. The field itself, I've been on it several times, is top quality. I mean, we really do things at the highest level here because we want to be able to attract, as I said, the highest level talent, the highest level activity and performers. We've certainly had more shows. We've certainly had other, sort of festivals and opportunities out here. And those things are going to continue to grow. I mean, our calendar, as I see it, for the rest of this year, while we haven't announced some things, is going to continue to grow and be populated with really compelling offerings for our guests to enjoy.
Well, and I think it leans into that runway. I think we've been incredibly prudent about beta testing and testing out and really trying to know our market, and those things are all new. We're in uncharted waters as it is. I had someone tell me the other day, we are literally creating a new hospitality destination in Ohio. People are really starting to hear about it, and it's very exciting.
Yeah.
So.
And different. It's a different destination. It's not Cedar Point. We don't want to be an Iron Ride, Thrill Ride Park. I love what they do. I'm a big Cedar Point fan. Grew up going to Cedar Point. Kings Island. There's all kinds of places that Ohio has, but I think we're going to have a different kind of destination at the crossroads of sports and entertainment that people will really appreciate. I forgot to mention Smush. Look, the product quality there is fantastic. They bake their cookies every single day. The ice cream, 17 different flavors, vegan, dairy-free. So they're trying to do something for everybody. Sugar-free, which is what I tried the other day, which was really good. I couldn't believe there was no sugar in it. It just tasted too good. Donald Driver's experience, equipment's loaded into the Center for Performance. He's starting construction on his facility in the Center for Excellence. Heggy's Nuts, the sign is up. They're under construction. Pizza oven is under construction. Perfect Pour, I saw their designs last night. Absolutely fantastic. So more and more, and I've been challenged a few times with, why aren't you opening things faster? Because I'm not interested in just opening things. We're interested in opening an experience. So we're stitching together different types of experiences that is going to make this quilt this village look really fantastic. And so something for everybody, something unique, and even things that are familiar done in a unique way. That's our goal.
So let's go on to what most folks know Canton for, until us, right? Which is Enshrinement Week. What we have now built is a destination that we look towards having enshrinement-like experiences pretty regularly. But let's just tackle next week and what that looks like, and as it relates to our consumers' experience and our guest experience. What's the CEOs know before you go? What's going to be happening on campus? How can people really have a blast when they come, even if they don't have a ticket to the game?
Well, the know before you go is know there's a lot more here to do. And the experience has gotten significantly bigger. And so don't show up 30 minutes before the event, show up 3 hours before the event. The family can enjoy rides. You can have a dinner, a lunch, an ice cream. The big thing this year is our inaugural First Down Fest. And when I look at the programming out there, the athletic programming, skills test challenges, the food programming, the entertainment programming, I mean, it's top notch. And I think the guests that are going to go out there and experience that before going to the football game, the NFL kickoff between the Browns and the Jets to the preseason, before going, after going to Enshrinement, before going to Zach Brown Band. There's a lot of things now for people to come out and do, and I would just encourage everybody, make a day of it. Make a day and a night of it, because if not, you're going to be out here going, oh, I wish I would have spent another hour. I wish I would have come a little earlier or stayed a little later. By the way, staying later for me is always great because you avoid the rush of cars trying to get out of here, and so just stay and play. I think the fun of this year is you got Joe Thomas going in, Cleveland Browns guy. You got Jets, a lot of New York people coming.
The game sold out in what, 20 minutes?
The game sold out, yeah. I mean, it was incredible. This year, I'm being told that we've set a record for attendance for Enshrinement.
That's right.
Already. I think Jim Porter and his team are doing a great job at honoring the heroes of the game, really preserving the history, and making sure that when all of these phenomenal athletes who were the best at what they did come back to campus, have a great time, and they can enjoy each other. We can watch them and engage, where we can, but the village now sets up for a much bigger opportunity for them as well. And I've talked to so many of them, and every time they come back, they have the same, wow, this is incredible. This is actually here in Canton, Ohio.
Right.
I can't believe it. And so the city is geared up. We're geared up. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is always ready for this. And I think people are just going to, and by the way, I looked at the weather. It's looking pretty good.
Great.
So I think it's going to be a fantastic week.
I've learned that there's over 100 Hall of Famers returning, and with the widows, and they're well into the 130s, I think.
Yeah.
So it's really, I think it's their largest showing ever. So we're really excited, and we're ready.
We're ready.
We're ready. We hope
ready.
folks will come en masse. So let's end and wrap this up with just a couple quick rapid-fire questions for you. Favorite ride?
Spike it.
Favorite food at the Brew Kettle?
The wings.
Favorite food at Chula's?
I love their Cobb salad. I had that last night. It's well done. There's a lot of things going on there.
Who's going to win, the Browns or the Jets?
Browns. Listen, I know it's bad to say, but I have to. I'm a hometown guy. I have to cheer for the Browns. I think, I really try to take moments just out on my own, and you've probably seen me do this over the years, where there's a lot of commitments I have, and we have a lot of partners on campus, sponsors, potential new business partners, and certainly I engage a lot with them and want to make sure they understand our vision and buy into it and create opportunity for growth for us. But I'll sneak away, and I'll just walk around and go to different parts of campus and watch guests. For me, I do this almost on a nightly basis. I go out, walk around, and see people, listen to people, talk to people. It's the only way I'm going to know how things are going and get their feedback. And I'm a people person, so I just enjoy being out. I'll go up on the hill behind the stadium and just look, take a couple photos at what's going on. I'll walk into our dome and see all the people partying in there. It's a lot of fun.
It's interesting. as we've come out of construction, I think our company, our investors, should be proud. We have a lot to be proud of. We've come a really long way in a very short period of time. We have so many people to thank and to be grateful for. And truly, you know, our leadership team and the team that we surround ourselves with, I would say we have some of the best folks around that work really, really hard to put this together. So anything you want to say in closing?
Yeah, I think what you just said is really important and not to be lost. The team here, we're hard on ourselves, and rightfully so. I mean, we want to make this the absolute best place that it can possibly be. We want to create the best media that we can create. We want to create gaming environments that people are really going to enjoy, leveraging the access we have to intellectual property. But I do know, and it's important, that we have quarter over quarter grown our revenue. We're still in investment mode. We just are. And you've got $100+ million worth of assets being built out there that won't generate revenue for another year plus. And so, yeah, we're going to be in a negative EBITDA position, but I do believe the growth in revenue is starting to really take hold, and our investors should look for those as positive signs and take those as what we're doing is working and what we're doing is taking effect. And when you're building a destination, you also have to create the destination in the minds of the consumer. You have to brand it, you have to market it. And those are things I know you're working on and we talk about a lot. And if we do all of that right, in a few years, you're going to see a really compelling, not only location and company that's doing great things, you're going to see a more compelling P&L statement as well.
Great. Well, thanks for all you're doing, Michael Crawford. I want to say a special thank you to Brian Weber and his team here at the Brew Kettle for allowing us to share his spectacular space. And thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate the continued support and look forward to sharing more at the next Huddle.